functional cities. And when we talk about organized community groups, we are talking about different formations, various formations. We are talking about resident associations, which is the group that we as CARA represent. We are talking about community-based organization. We are talking about faith-based organization. We are talking about women groups. We are talking about youth groups. Any kind of formation that brings people together is an organized community group. And these groups come together for different reasons. But most importantly, we must be able to ask ourselves, as a group, how can we be able to play a role to ensure that we are contributing to the well-being of our county and of our city? How can we play a role to ensure that we are supporting the aspect of sustainability and functionality of our county and of our city? So that's the discussion we want to have today. And we thought that this is a very timely discussion because, as you know, we just come from an election. We have a new administration in various counties. I know most counties are just in the process of finalizing their CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan, and most counties are in the planning process, so to speak. So it is at this time that we really need to understand, as the county organizes itself, as the county put together the plan that they want to execute in the next few years, what exactly is your role? How can you play a role, and how can you be able to organize yourself to make sure that you are actually positively impacting on the process of having a better city and a better county? So that's what we want to talk about today. And we are going to hear from our speakers. We have 3 speakers. I can see Nixon has not yet come. Maybe he's on his way. But with us here, we already have Dr. Nyangweso. Dr. Nyangweso is a planner, a profession. Maybe he'll talk about himself. But he will be able to engage us from the aspect of when we talk about urban planning, for instance. How exactly do you involve communities? How do we integrate the expectations and the needs of communities into the urban planning process? And of course, many other areas that you'll be able to touch on. But what I am going to thank you very much for the time with us, and we look forward to hearing from you. We also have the county government, Madam Judith Olwach. Judith Olwach is not new to this sector of us. We work with her in the civil society. Saizi anafanya kazi kwa county. She's waziri at the county. And of course, she'll be able to speak with us from the point of view of the county government and engage us on how exactly the county government is interacting and involving and engaging community groups on various service delivery processes and on various decisions that they are making as a county. So I think without taking much time, I'll allow us to straight away go to engaging our speakers. And of course, after this, each of them will have about 15-20 minutes to make their presentation. Alafu baadaye tutakuwa na plenary where we pia watatupia your views and ask questions if you have questions, because the format of this platform, from this forum, we don't normally assume or take it that wale ambao wanatuongelesha ndio wako na information. You also have information. You can also teach us. You can also share with us your knowledge. You can also be able to give us information that we don't have. So we also have a chance to just speak on the subject of discussion. Whether it is a question, whether it is a comment, whatever information that you have that is relevant to what we are discussing today, will go a long way in making sure that at least somebody in this room has learned something at the end of it all. We will have that session of interaction and just engaging so that at the end of it all, we can be able to be at a better place in terms of information and in terms of what we know. So that is going to be the format of our conversation today. And we'll be able to pick out some of the key issues that have been brought out, and where there's need for follow-up, whether in the county government or with any other entity, we'll put in place mechanism making sure that we follow up on those issues that have been brought up here. And of course, if there's a need for solution, then we follow up until we get the kind of solution that we need and we expect as residents of Kisumu. So that's how we are going to manage the session. We hope that we'll be done maybe by 11:30 or so, and of course agree on what is the way forward to the next step. So ladies and gentlemen, let me now invite Dr. Nyangweso. We were going on, that's the name, but Freddy Kowino is a colleague, Dr. Nyangweso, so he's been able to requested Dr. Nyangweso to represent, to come and speak on this subject, and I know that he'll be able to do justice to the topic of discussion. Dr. Nyangweso, karibu sana, and please have about 15-20 minutes to talk to us on the subject of discussion. Karibu.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Samuel Nyangweso. I'm a planner by profession. Currently, my trade is I'm lecturing at a planning school at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. I'm also a planning consultant. Today, my role is to represent my chair of department, that is Dr. Freddy Kowino, currently doing some outreach in West Pokot. He's the chair for urban boundary delineation of a number of urban areas in West Pokot. So here I will take his place. I have a presentation, but I believe through engagement we will be able to interact and learn more. I also happen to be a resident of Kisumu. Specifically, I stay in Mamboleo. So I will put on two hats. Can I right there? Let me go. And service delivery, and the role of community and residents within neighborhood units. I know there are other things that have been added, but I think through engagement we will learn more. When it says cities, it is very common to think of Kisumu, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Nairobi in Kenya. But I want to start by explaining that the perspective of UN Habitat is that all urban areas, all designated urban areas are cities. So they keep using the urban areas and cities interchangeably. Any urbanized center with population of around 2,000 people engaged in non-farm activities is a city or is urban area. So we can bring down the title towards sustainable, resilient, functional urban areas. Because if it is cities, it might be misconceived to be only 4 cities in Kenya, but I say no. It is all urban areas. And you know in Kenya, urban area starts from market centers, towns, municipalities, cities, and even metropolitan areas. Where do we find urban communities and residents and even their associations? I brought a very wider perspective. I'm a scholar, so sometimes we are a bit theoretical. I brought a very wide perspective, but I'll bring you closer to where you are. Sometimes we talk of urban region. So whenever you are within one urban region, any unit, you might think, yes, I'm urban resident. And broadly, we have urban residents or rural residents. Or sometimes urban residents, peri-urban residents, rural residents. So urban region. It is very common people to work in an urban core but stay several kilometers away and they commute every day. That is very common. And they are very attached to that urban center. That commuter region where people are comfortable traveling every day back forth to town for various things, that circumference is called an urban region. And urban region can be very wide. It can be Kajiado. I go past Kajiado, but still frequent. Within the urban region, there could be several urban authorities. I will use Nairobi more. We will have Nairobi City. We'll another urban authority could be in Kiambu, Kiserian, you know, as far ahead. And if you are keen, you will note that it is not that this urban region is continuously developed. There is urban core which is developed. As you transition, it will be less developed within a metropolitan region. You will even go further to farms, rural areas, but still they are part and parcel of the influence of the urban core. They are still urbanized. Now, let me go to my diagram. So my diagram indicates that here could be Nairobi. It could be city, it could be municipality. Like in Kisumu, we have Kisumu City. So whenever you are organized as communities, know to which urban authority do you seek service from? To which urban authority is your neighborhood located? It is very confusing, especially in Nairobi. You could be in Kiserian and you want city of Nairobi to serve you. And yet Kiserian is in Kajiado. And probably also probably Kiserian could be a township with its own management of town. So, I'm still coming down. I think here I've given quite some good examples about Nairobi. Nairobi core is about 684 kilometers squared, but Nairobi urban extent, because actually urbanization do not respect these administrative boundaries. It will continue expanding, even encroaching on neighborhood authorities, boundaries, and territories without a care. But what we feel as Nairobi extent in terms of development is twice the size of the boundary of Nairobi City County, around 1,274 kilometers squared. But Nairobi influence, we say Nairobi, if Nairobi sneezes, Nairobi Metro catches cold. Kajiado, Kiambu, and everywhere else. Nairobi Metro is even 5 times the boundary of city county. When you live there and you are a resident, probably you have a resident association, what you must be keen about, are we in Limuru municipality so that we are served by Limuru municipality? Are we in Thika so that we are served with Thika municipality? So know your location, know your urban authority from which you expect services, even within a metropolitan region. Let me scale it down. I started from urban region. Within urban region, we have urban core, we have metropolis, we have suburban areas, we have even satellite cities. By the way, I didn't touch about satellite cities. In developed world, urbanization level could hit, actually we have countries with urbanization level of 100%. Now, within the urban region, there could be satellite cities. We could have a like Nairobi, but just outside Nairobi, we have also a city. And in Kenya, we only need 250,000 population for urban area to be a city. Okay? Like Limuru, they are already working towards being a city. I think, is it Kitengela? And even Thika. Okay? Those could be satellite cities of Nairobi. Even though administratively, Nairobi County is separate, but the interlinkage, the urbanization influence is all over that territory. Only that if you are in Thika, you will seek services from Thika municipality. Now, within the urban core, we are organized as neighborhoods. In Kisumu, we are identified more with neighborhood than even administrative units like locations or sublocations. Like me, I don't know even my sublocation, but I know Mamboleo. Okay? That is my place in Kisumu. I identify with Mamboleo in Kisumu. And I expect service in Mamboleo within Kisumu. First, before I get interested in Kisumu, I get interested in Mamboleo. And even in Mamboleo, there could be more neighborhood units making the estate. So probably, like I stay around Showground, we have a Soview estate, so we can call it Soview neighborhood. So I'm more interested with services provided within Soview neighborhood before Mamboleo estate, before Kisumu city. What am I driving at? First, these neighborhood units, we look at them as spatial units making up the city or urban area. We also see them as spatial units for service delivery. The aspect of where, if you want a service, I'm a city manager, I start by where? Where is that space? Because cities are geographical units. Neighborhoods subdivide the cities into smaller units for service delivery. Because definitely, we will only provide services at given location at a given time, based on need. Because neighborhoods have peculiarities. They have peculiar needs, so they will definitely want services at varied levels. What is the role of the residents and communities there? They really need to know what are we lacking Where can we get help? How can we champion for that help? Start where you live. When you talk neighborhood unit and even an estate, straight away something comes to mind. Straight away they are characterized. The moment you talk of a given estate, you probably have its history. You have a feel of it already. Some people can even make conclusion of it. Even when somebody wants to look for a resident in Kisumu, they will give conditions. Maybe I want it in Manyata, in Obunga, in Mamboleo, in Migosi. Because they know something good about it, probably it is better served. So we are more affiliated to our estates and neighborhoods. And that is the reason why within our neighborhoods we should have strong associations to champion for our interests. If it is water we don't have, if it is power we don't have, if it is accessibility we don't have, it is you to cry the loudest. It is you who is most affected within that unit. And if each of the neighborhoods and associations are strong enough and champion their interest during planning, who knows, the authorities will respond and we will be served, and collectively all about livability of cities and resilience in cities will be achieved. The vicinity in which people live, somebody called Lewis Mumford presented neighborhood as a fact of nature which comes into existence whenever a group of people share a place. So whenever we share a place, a fact of nature will be in groupings or in small spatial units where we are organized and do our things. Since the early ages of humanity, for practical, economic, sociological, and physiological reasons, people have tended to live close together in section of an area and form communities. Those sections or neighborhoods have some particular physical or social characteristics that distinguish them from the rest of the settlement. So these neighborhoods, they are unique. The clustering of these neighborhoods has formed towns, villages, and cities. So as long as I'm saying I'm Nairobian, first, yes, if I'm outside Nairobi, but within Nairobi, I will say I stay in Kasarani, okay? That is where I belong, and that is where I'm served. Neighborhood as a unit is an ubiquitous phenomenon in every urban and non-urban area. Somebody described neighborhood unit as integrated, planned urban area related to larger community of which it is part, and consisting of residential districts, schools, shopping facilities, religious buildings, open spaces, perhaps of service capacity. What are we saying? In your neighborhood, you expect services. And if they are lacking, residents would champion to have them provided. Now, for our associations within our neighborhood units, we have to know that we are the people. We are the urban population. And in urban areas of the Act, they are classified according to the population, which means it is not only a spatial unit, it is the people who live in those spatial units. And you have a right to be served within those spatial units. Those are service delivery spatial units. Once we organize ourselves as associations, first and foremost, the association should know what is the land use plan of this unit. Or if the land use plan is not there, can you champion for it? So that as you develop from a point of knowledge. I know you must have seen a lot of disruption of life. Later on, some people have stayed somewhere 20 years is when they are demolished because the space was meant for something else. So neighborhood units must know or must seek plans, approve development plans for their units, so that when they develop on the basis of planning. Outside plan, the authorities can even bring down developments and you take them nowhere. If the plan is not there, let's always champion to have the plans for those areas. Within the plan, actually in the planning, people just, let me tell you, the production of those maps have a volume up. Physical development plans. Leaders of these associations should interact with these documents. Even Kisumu City, I know there is a draft physical development plan, land use and physical development plan for the areas where we live. Be keen about your areas. Please start by protecting where you live. As outwards. So have the plans, push for implementations. There are provision plans. There are provision in the write-ups. Read them. They are written in very simple language. Now, once you know the plan and proposals for those areas and projects for those areas, now to champion for legal legitimate to start our championing for our interest. The provisions, champion for implementation of those provisions. You can also champion for service delivery, security in those areas, accessibility, water, among other things. You should always participate in what you need. If it is a school, when they come around during budgeting, go and ask for schools. Go ask for things you lack in those neighborhoods. During planning, during urban development planning processes, there is an elaborate process of public participation. When they are called upon, please don't sit back. By you sitting back, you will miss certain things you would have proposed and they get incorporated in the plans. Go. Just spare that day. In fact, associations can even have memoranda. They can write and they present that these are the things we are proposing for the plan. There is 3 public participation forum during planning processes. Please, because they are made public, there is public invitations. Go. As association, as residents, go. So we need active residents and association on matters development in and planning. Why? The sewerers knows better where it is pinching. So start by sharing what is pinching you to the authorities during these planning processes, implementation processes. Also be an active resident and association. There is a concept which has been so much in the developed world called NIMBY, not in my backyard. Many a times we are residents that even bad things happen in our backyards and we keep mum. They start dumping behind your house and you keep mum.
Place is for hospital, so that if somebody comes and starts building a school in the space for hospital, you're actually supposed to raise an objection and say, "Apana, this is not meant for this particular place." So when you have that kind of a plan, then you're able to control development where you live. And I like what you're saying, that it's important for people to actively engage in even developing those plans, because in the process of engaging, you are able to state your priorities and your expectations. Mnaweza kusema this is how we want our neighbor to look like, and even influence the zoning policy and the zoning plans so that you have a controlled neighborhood. And the essence of having a resident association is so that you can be in charge of your neighborhood and make sure that you only allow what is supposed to be allowed. Kama kuna kitu ambayo inafanyika which is not allowed, you are supposed to raise objection and make sure it doesn't happen. Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Nyangweza, for that informative presentation. Now we have City of Kisumu Urban Areas Association. We're expecting Nixon here. We have Linda Ogweno, who will touch briefly on the topic of discussion on behalf of...
Very much. We should just give him one hot slap. Karibu, karibu, weka. Thank you very much. As a woman, I wouldn't fail to like that comment. We are mourning the first ever female mayor and the first woman MP for the Republic of Kenya, Grace Onyango. She came from Kisumu County. So thank you very much. So as an association, what we have done, and I really like the background that Frederick had set up on what can associations do and some of the roles that associations can do. And he has really, really elaborated it and done a very good job. Thank you very much, Frederick. So on that background is where we also come in. And that is where we also form the associations to highlight and to put in some of the plight of the residents of Kisumu County, be it traders, be it residential areas. As he sets it up, there are areas that we're still grappling with, and there are areas that we'd want to make it stronger with your help and with the help of other people. As I wait for that to be set up, I want to digress and tell you a personal story. I come from Migosi ward for that matter. And it's a challenge when you try to push for an agenda of a ward as an individual. But if you come through as a collective or a residents association or as people of Migosi, then it's very easy to sit on the negotiating table and play something and demand for it. I have participated in public participation. I can tell for a fact that we don't go there for our voices to be heard. We usually go there, it is just an activity that is done, but there was already something else that has been put in place. But if we are an association, for example, I'll use Migosi, and pardon me for that, but that is where I come from. And we go and say, this is what, as the people of Migosi, we've agreed that we want. Then the projects and the development being implemented by the county government becomes aligned to what we have said. Mostly we go there as individuals, and as individual, your voice is weaker than what other people would want. I want to talk about Ezra Gumbe Primary School. And I'm speaking about it as an alumni of the school and somebody who's really passionate about it. As I'm speaking right now, the sanitary situation in that school is very, very deplorable and very bad. And you try to go through the avenues or maybe looking for the area MCA and what. And as I said, one voice is a very weak voice. So in boldness, what did I do? I looked for the CEC education, John Awit, and I called him. And I boldly told him, there's a toilet, if you don't sort it, you're going to be in the newspapers. I can be bold, by the way. So thanks to that, he went and he saw it. I really want to appreciate him for taking up action. And he went and he saw it. And he was speaking, it's in the supplementary budget in Kisumu County, awaiting for its approval. But I want to tie it back to the topic of the day. The role of organized community groups towards sustainable and functional cities. However, the fact Kisumu County government or county governments do not have the mandate to take care of primary education. They only take care of ECD. So because of that, the minister is only obliged to do a toilet for the ECD students, which is correct and that is his mandate. But what of the other students? And that is where now we need associations like this to go and speak. Because in as much as the toilet for the primary school and primary school has not been devolved, it's on the national government. But what if the Association of Residents in Migosi would go and have a sit down with CEC John Awiti and ask him this same amount of money that you want to allocate towards building a new pit latrine, which is probably $1 million or $2 million, why can't you use it to renovate the old toilet? Ezra Gumbe Primary School was built in the 1980s or 70s. So there's a very old toilet that the school was built with that currently is just standing there, is dilapidated, and it only needs to be renovated. Then it will be in a functional situation. It has 24 doors, meaning if it's renovated, all the students in that school, all be it ECD and primary, we can access this toilet and the problem of sanitation will be sorted for all the students. But you see, him, he can't sit like that because what is his JD? What is their restriction? Early primary, ECD. So he's only focusing on ECD. But as residents, we have to focus on all the students. And so that is why I come back to tie this and say, as residents, if you go and speak about it, then your voice is louder. Then you can see it louder. Then you can, we could play and have football and, children just being children. Currently, that is non-existent in Migosi. Why? Because all that has either been sold. Let me not say grab, because if I'm asked to justify, I may not justify, but I know those pieces of land are no longer there. And if you look at the historical plan of Migosi, they were there. So where did they go? And where does my child play? Where does your child play if they come from Migosi? Where are the people who know football? Where do they go train their skills? The people who know basketball, where do they train? Where are the parking spaces? Where have they gone? But if I go to speak as Linda, my voice is weak. When you go to speak as an association and people in as Linda, my voice is weak. When you go to speak as an association and people in as resident, then we are stronger. Let me bring you to something that happened recently. There was a Milimani area. It was blocked for riders, right? Si mnaishi Kisumu. Nyinyi ni watu wa hapa, si ndio? Ama watu wa Karando wamekuja. You know that, right? But what did the members say? Was it the voice of the area residents? I'm not saying I'm just poking a question. Did the area residents, somebody from Milimani? Yes. Can you comment on that? The community was and you felt that your voice was heard, and that notice reflected what you people wanted. You see, and he's very, very contented and he's very happy about that. So it is a collaboration between the government and the local areas. That was very, very, very good. So also where you stay, mimi najua sisi hatunanga kitu ka hiyo Migosi, but we will come to you for advice and scale up. All right, so quickly, my presentation today. Okay. And some of these things I have mentioned as I was speaking. I said I'm here to represent Nixon. Nixon is the CEO of City of Kisumu Urban Areas Association. Unfortunately, he lost his uncle and they're burying today, so that's why he didn't make it. So kindly accept his apologies. So I have said, I was just to explain what QUER is and for you to understand. So those are some of the objectives of this presentation today. I'll go to the prehistoric Kisumu, and from my question and answer, some things have already been mentioned. Kisumu was known as Kisuma. The Abaluya called it Abahasuma. The Gusi people called it Ege Kisumu. So this is just a brief about Kisumu County. What is Kisumu County known for? It is a city. Its size, the population is about 500,000, but I want to believe this has gone up. It is the third largest that has been mentioned. It is second most important city after Kampala. The port of city was built in 1901, and Kisumu literally means a place of barter trade, which is sumo. This is just a continuation of what Kisumu is known for. The history, known for trading. I'm trying to go fast because most of these things you already know. Kisumu was made a city in 2006. Another thing is Section 60 of the Urban Cities and Cities Act number 13 of 2011 declared Kisumu to be a city. Those are some of the legal framework by which was used to make a city a city. You just can't make it anywhere a city just like that. Okay, so these are some of the other cities within the world that Kisumu closely associate with. So one is the Colorado in USA and Roanoke in Virginia. So I'm going to give you just a brief background of the City of Kisumu Urban Areas Association. It was founded pursuant to the Section 13E of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, Laws of Republic of Kenya, and as I said, Frederick really went into that. It was registered in 2016. It is a non-religious, non-political, and not-for-profit making association. We just want to do it for the welfare of everyone. So its objective is to promote, uphold, protect the highest standards of urban areas, governance, service delivery, business leadership, and ethics in the city of Kisumu for the benefit of our members. So these are some of the specific objectives. I can share this for anyone who's interested so that you can go through it so that, because you see my presentation could be fast. And the nature of human beings and our concentration is at times we don't get everything at once, but when you go it slowly by slowly, you can grasp it. So to empower and capacity build its members, to provide its members and other stakeholders of the city of Kisumu County with a common voice, organize and implement singularly and jointly conservation, preservation, improvements, plan and hold socio-economic and cultural activities, participate in and monitor and evaluate the management of Kisumu County. So the mission is to transform the city of Kisumu through collaborative partnership into a better place to live, work, and visit. I think everybody would want this, you know? To transform the Kisumu through a collaborative partnership into a better place where you can live, you can work, and you can visit. Personally, it's to live. The vision is to be a leader in urban areas and cities regeneration through inclusive, proactive approach in sustainable urban growth and development. Legal framework, I've said some of the guiding laws in the country that we abide by. I've said that the one that was used to enact us, of course, we abide by the Constitution of Kenya. Some of the regulatory framework that we work under, Vision 2030, National Spatial Plan 2015, City of Kisumu Integrated Urban Development Plan, and I'm sure the representative from the government will speak more about that. So these are some of the international, you know, Kenya does not exist in a vacuum. There are also international standards that are there that also guide the formation of such associations. So I'll go to the structure briefly to mention there is a chair, there is the secretary, vice secretary, treasurer, co-opted member, and every other thing. When I go to, it's headed by a CEO, it's a non-employee. These are just more details about the organization. These are some of the working committees that it has: urban legislation, governance. These are more or less some of the areas where it operates, be it in economy and trade, peace and conflict. These are just the guiding principles. Organogram, for the people who don't, I want to believe you understand organogram, is just the hierarchy in an organization, who answers to who and what happens where. So in Kisumu, the role of CHOER is to promote Kisumu city to the local and regional international audiences, to create cohesion among Kisumu business community, develop and implement strategies, assist in formulation and identity of branding and programs, civic education of its members of their rights and obligations. Provide checks and balances operations of the city, work with the city hall to help facilitate absorption and implementation of the cities. All that. This is just to say that there's an advisory body that also works with CHOER. Non-state organization, we have representation from the formal business, the non-formal business. More or less, it's everybody within the society based on the different places that we come in. We also have community leaders as the last point there. I'm trying to look for what are some of the things we have done so that I don't bore you so much. benefits to its members, customized benefits, priority in attention legislative, participating as a member of advisory board, unlimited participation in standing committees, and all that. These are benefits continued. We offer linkages, free newsletters, and that. So some of the key achievements that we have managed to do since inception: team leader in the integrated actions for innovative food systems action across rural urban community. This was a project that was funded by FAO. It was just launched the other day, and I know it's still going on in collaboration with the county government, which really gave a breakdown of Kisumu people and their eating habits, and some of the nutritional requirements of the county, and some of the gap as far as food is concerned. Where should we put our efforts? I participated in it, and I'm sure the government also participated, and the report was well represented. Where do you need to put in more efforts, in which food? Where is the gap? And I want to believe, as far as food is concerned, that is a concern to everyone, inclusive of the government. So implementation of the Right to Food project. Another one is member of the network on food governance in small and intermediary cities. Member of the city to city exchanges on food system governance. Quality of life in the city of Kisumu. This was also another report that was launched. It was also funded by Kibos Sugar on just how are people in Kisumu County? Are they happy? Are they sad? How are they? And the good thing about that report, I can share that report with you as well if you want, is it found most people in Kisumu are actually happy. Are you guys happy? Are you happy? She's saying no. Generally, the average is we are doing well. So current projects that we have: development of the second strategic plan 2023-2027, delineation of the boundaries of the city of Kisumu. This is a very interesting thing. You know, there's Kisumu County, and then there's Kisumu City. So what is the boundary for Kisumu County, and what is the boundary for Kisumu City? I don't know if I should ask that to our government representative to let us know that, because as we're speaking, there's a gap there. To strengthen participation in urban governance, establish neighborhood, homeowners and residents association. This is one of the things that we hope also that through this meeting we are able to do. And Henry, really, I finish with where I started with. Thank you for the invitation to this forum, because this is one of the things that we have been really also thinking about, and I hope that this forum will help push it to the next level, that we need to have now in various residential area. We need to have different associations as per that. Is that something that you'd like? Would you want Kara to spearhead that to happen? Aman in our church. But that would be something nice, right? And then strengthen urban sanitation and hygiene, provide public toilets in the city of Kisumu. There's a bit of, there's a shortage of public toilets in the city of Kisumu. For the people who more or less use town every other day, you know this is a challenge. So this is one of the things that we are hoping to do, and strengthen trade and commerce activities. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Linda Gweno. I want to thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, I'll be willing to answer them at the end of it all. But thank you for listening to me. Asante.
Discussion, and of course, just engage us on some of the questions that we might have, and some of the ideas that we might have that we think that the county government needs to know. So, Madam Judy, please come and speak to us today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Henry, and the entire Kara team for the invitation. Actually, for inviting the county government of Kisumu. Amoso ujo turwa. Udenade. Amor kaneno. And I'm very happy when I see the youth. I see quite a number of young people in the room. And of course, I also recognize the other category. I'm not saying you're old. Yeah, but you're my brothers, actually my brothers. I don't see anyone I can refer to as my father here. But you could serve as my father in a different setting, which I recognize. So for everyone, Mwalimu and the lovely lady. Oh, you can't hear me. And Linda, I really appreciate your presentations, looking at them from a different perspective. As Henry introduced me, my name is Judith Oluoch, and currently I'm the CEC in the department in charge of public service, county administration, and participatory development. So my office is situated in the office of the governor. Actually, you invited the governor. So I have the privilege of representing the governor. Yeah, he's held up, so he's not able to be here. And I was informed about this yesterday evening when your colleague, came with the letter from the governor that go and represent me. And I looked at the topic, role of organized groups towards sustainable, resilient, and functional cities in Kenya. And I remember calling you. So what do you expect of me? Yeah, of course, as a county representative, my interest is the county. So my interest is teach tire. Bottom line, teach tire. And if you can give me feedback that can enable me realize that, I'll really appreciate it. Don't get teach tire. I listened to the questions that were posed to you earlier. What makes Kisumu stand out? And I was impressed. I know there are challenges also. There's nothing that is always perfect. And as the county government, I was not in the previous cabinet. I've joined this current cabinet. But what I can possibly underscore is we have a focused governor. And somebody who is very passionate about this particular city and this particular county. I don't just want to refer to it as a city. I know you asked that question, where is the line drawn? Where is the line drawn? But besides that, Jothurwa, I've worked with Kara before. I've had the privilege of working in several other organizations. My primary training was in economics, and I was an educationist also for many years, even up to the university level. I was teaching. And then I went to the private sector. Later I ended up in the non-governmental development sector, and that's where I was really working closely with Kara in promoting what is being discussed here today. Yeah, which is working with organized groups. So I would say for the last, Henry, it's about 6 years or 7. Yeah, where I was working with the civil society urban development platform. So we would have quite a number of these forums and engage groups. Yeah, that is what I did for quite a while. So, role of organized community groups towards sustainable, resilient, and functional cities. Maybe I start by, could you tell him I'm making a presentation? So let me start by acknowledging that there are challenges why this is not happening. One, lack of information. People usually don't have information. They cannot access information at the right time. And when that happens, it affects service delivery. Another issue that I really want to emphasize as a government officer is there is lack of limited access to government offices to register your grievances, which we know happen. Sometimes people don't even have the courage, or you don't know where to go to. And I think Linda really mentioned that. Sometimes you require the courage, for you to even go into these offices. But something I must reassure you at this point in time is that these are public offices. These remains your offices. Then the other issue that is also a hindrance is limited participation and involvement. And you find that what Kara has been propagating over the years is promoting engagement. And for you to even organize yourselves in those CSOs, those CBOs, those faith-based organization or any kind of setting, it's about you having a louder voice, because nobody will listen to you as much as you'll make so much noise. But if you have a structured approach, then you're better off. And that's why organized community groups, as emphasized, is very important. As a department, public participation falls within my department. And my key role is to ensure that we use all those instruments to deliver services to the citizens of Kisumu. So, of course, there are several ways. Something I also mentioned about my department is it is where the county administration is as well. How many of you are at the ward level? Anybody from the ward level, county ward level, whether it's in the MCA's office or the county devolved structures, the centralized structures? Ah, good. Which ward? Kaloleni Shaurimoyo ward. Village level or ward? You're the ward administrator? Or from the MCA's office? Village administrator is in my department. No wonder the both of you are looking at me. They're actually in my department. Yeah. So they are in my office. And these decentralized structures are very important. You realize that the kind of decentralized structures that have been set up in Kisumu County is quite outstanding. There are counties that only have them up to the ward level. But Professor Peter Anyam-Nyong'o has set up these structures until the village level. So in your villages, there is an administrator. We have 7 administrative units. Of course, one is basically for service delivery, which is Kadibo. We have Nyando. We have Kisumu West, Kisumu Central, Kisumu East. We have Moroni, we have Seme. We have Nyakach. If you come from Kisumu, you know all those areas. Now some of us have the privilege also of being born in Kisumu, going to school in Kisumu, bred in Kisumu. So we are Kisumians. So incidentally, you realize that there is also another administrative unit, because you have to be aware of them, especially as organized groups, because that is where you find all the sub-county officers, whether it is for health, it is for water, it is for agriculture, it is for education, it is for trade, gender, social services, all of them, all the sectors departments, especially the devolved functions, you'll find them there. So it's important for you to know that. Now there is another administrative unit that was carved from Nyando called Kadibo. It's not a constituency, that's why I know sometimes there are issues about it, but we focus on it as the service delivery area. So they also have offices. Is it in Rabur? Yeah, it's in Rabur. So depending on where you are. So you need to know these sub-county offices because they are entry points. Yeah, they are entry points. So in those sub-county offices, we have sub-county administrators. So, as you know, when the various counties in Kenya were being decided on, there was really an issue, how many counties do we have? And it always becomes very contentious because of vested interest. So for Kisumu County, the assembly decided that we'll only have 2 villages in every ward to have peace. 2 villages. I know like Moroni has really complained because it is a vast area. You know, Moroni starts from where? In Awasi going down and up to the border in Rift Valley, and if you are to look at it from this other end, it's really vast. But it was agreed it should only be 2 village administrators. So please also find out who are your village administrators. Because what happens in your village, they are the first one to know. And as a county, we receive daily reports about what's happening in the villages, which is escalated to the wards. So we can always tell which ones are reported and which ones are not reported. And if they are not attended to, you have a right now to come to my office. You have a right to come to the Director of Administration, who oversees all this. Then the Director will report to the Chief Officer, and the Chief Officer will report to me. So all those hierarchical structures are there because they are county hierarchical structures. So this devolved systems about county, like I know recently there was the bursaries and scholarships, isn't it? Which became very contentious. They must share it with you. And you have a right to walk in and inquire. Whether it is about public participation, which public participation is coming up, other departments are supposed to liaise with them. You need to get that information so that your CBO, CSO knows what is the matter at hand. As we speak, there is the issue of supplementary budget. It's in the assembly floor. But you know, assembly also needs to do the public participation. So my hope is that you're already aware such things are happening through these offices. But you also know that we have already started the process of budgeting for the next financial year. So there is public participation at different levels, which as organized groups, you can only participate when you're in a platform of organized groups, where you can have your representatives, 2 or 3, who you can send to those forums and air their views. That is when you are included. And remember, our constitution is very clear about inclusivity and equity. Then, of course, community sensitization. Quite a number do, like I know our health department, because they have several partners. Even the bursaries and scholarships, the other day, they held sensitizations before them. If you have an interest in that area, please always know between December, January, sensitization is starting, before even the bursary forms are given. These are calendars that you need to know. When does the budget process start? You need to know them. But you can only know them when you have an interest. You can only know them. You know, the government structure is very clear on how things are done. Because when they are not done in that manner, somebody has a right to go to court. And there can always be litigation. Handling. have had complaints which started from the village, it went to the ward, it was not settled, and it reached the highest level. Our county attorney is now training the staff on ADR, alternative disputes resolution mechanisms, to sort out very important. Now the other my department is also involved in, which is in the office of the governor, is the issue of partnerships. So recognize every partnership represented here is very important to us, because our focus is building partnerships and coordinating partners for synergy and identifying the relevant areas that we can work together. Because once we identify those partnerships, then we direct them to the right departments. We direct them to the right departments. But through those decentralized units, you can be able to know the entry points. You'll know the entry points. So that's very important. The other issue I also want to mention, especially in regard to the role of the county government, is just 2 weeks ago, we had a validation of our public participation policy. The draft, which was released in August 2022. So it's fairly new. Yeah, it's a document that is quite comprehensive, very elaborate on public participation. And if you're to look at it, you realize that it talks about timeliness, accessibility to information in a timeliness manner. How do you give your feedback? When are you supposed to get a notice? How do we create an environment that is conducive for non-state actors? You see, those kind of issues. And how do we ensure there is effective public participation? So there are quite a number of issues that are involved there. So I've mentioned about decentralized units. All that is very clear in the County Government Act. For you to understand your relationship with the county government and how you can participate effectively, I see quite a number of young people here. Please read the County Government Act. You'll get so much information. She asked about city, Kisumu County, the cities within Kisumu County. There is an act called the Urban Areas and Cities Act. It's very clear on the differences. What is considered as a market center, defined by the population, area, and several factors. Then we have the towns. Didn't you hear Professor Nyong'o going to launch Ketito Town, Maseno Town? You heard that? Yeah. They consider them as administrative units which have grown. They look at the population. It's an assessment based on a process. So after market center, we have the towns. Then we have the municipality. Because they always have to be gazetted. Just yesterday, what did I see in Siaya? Orengo was gazetting Ugunja. Yes. Yeah, and you see, when you organize them like that, the national government recognizes them. And partners also recognize them. And they can support many things happening there in terms of service delivery. Then we have, after municipality, we now have the cities. So we only have 3 cities because they met a certain criteria, which is Kisumu, Nairobi, Nakuru. I know Eldoret is in the process, yes. Yeah, because they consider population, the services offered, do they have the infrastructure to qualify as a city. Kisumu qualified as a city even before it was gazetted, a long time ago. In fact, there was a delay. So there are boundaries of demarcation, like what the city of Kisumu does. It concentrates more. You remember when Nairobi had the metropolitan? Yeah, which has already gone. Yeah, but there is a clear line of which areas they provide service. You'll find them tasked with revenue collection and many aspects within the city. So as you move out of the town now, those ones now, if it's the municipality, they'll take care of that. But please read the Urban Areas and Cities Act. That's a conversation for another day. Read the Urban Areas and Cities Act to understand it more. Now, my department also deals with governance, and that's why it's in the office of the governor. Now, the concept of organized community groups. How do we contribute to it, and what do we look out for in partnerships? One is provision of alternative service delivery platform as named start actors. You people play a very key role. So the other roles or responsibilities that you have, and why the county recognize you, is that you are an alternative service delivery platforms, which is very important. And that's why getting to know them is important. Then the other role that you play that we recognize is that you are involved in government policies and plans. I've mentioned some of them, like if it's a policy review, when you participate in public participation or any other plans, they must go through that process, public participation. So you'll realize that in bursary, in education, in health, you participate. You know about the road maintenance boards. You know the facility committee management. Facility management committees for hospitals. Do you know even that hospital in your village, in your ward, as members of the community sitting there? The road maintenance teams in different wards, members of the community are in those committees. Even the recent bursary scholarship, they are members of the community. And when you organize yourself, you'll have your representatives there. You'll have your representatives in those decision-making tables. You can take decisions about the hospitals, about the roads, about education, about trade, even gender-related issues. Who was at the International Women's Day celebration at Mama Grace Onyango the other day? Good. And I saw so many partners, CBOs that were in attendance, and some of the things that were in the exhibitions are just amazing. And incidentally, Mama Grace Onyango died on that day. Can you imagine? Very coincidental. Very coincidental. Then the other issue that is key about this community organized group is that there are always entry points. As working with members of the community, it's easier for us to gain entry through an organized community group. We'll ask which are the youth groups here, which are the women groups here. And especially if you're involved in activities and you're visible, that becomes the entry point. It's very difficult to deal with individuals. And that's why it's important, and I'll ensure I do that, that within our decentralized units and the wards, and even in the villages, they have a profile. Which are the community groups that are registered? That's something that I'm going to follow up within those particular wards, as well as within those particular villages. That will be very useful. Then finally, the other role that you can play, especially in regard to service delivery, is management of city property and social amenities. Just the other day, you knew what was happening at Uhuru Market. Do you know how the matter calmed down? I know it's still contentious, but it is the community groups that were created to form a committee to run that market. Otherwise, the fight was going to continue. So they are the ones running. Let them tell us who are allocated what, so that we have representatives, whether it is Nyamlori, it is Garissa, how many are for Garissa, how many are for, they are the ones, you're the people who know them better than we do. And that brought peace. So you can see how that can facilitate service delivery. So I know a lot has been said about the neighborhood associations, which play a very critical role within the cities in terms of security. It's very important. I know for a long time there was the issue of Nyumba Kumi. But you see, the neighborhood associations function is much broader than even the Nyumba Kumi. But you see, you can make reference to the Nyumba Kumis within your area. Yeah, and get a lot of information. So you can ensure all that happens within your communities and contain crime. The other day there was an issue about Milimani area. What happened with Milimani area and security? What was banned? Border borders. And we know these are organized groups. Border borders have a very strong group. And they negotiated. Haven't you seen them around today? Because they sat down with the city manager. But you see, there were those thugs who had infiltrated them. And people were being mugged even during the day. So something had to happen to stop it. So what was realized, actually they are the genuine ones who have a registered group, border association. So they were asked after 2 days, we want all of you registered so that we know who is operating where for accountability purposes. And that's something you must note, that with organized groups, you are held accountable. Which group was it? Who are the leaders in that group? For the government, that's very important. That's very, very important. So that's quite key. I've mentioned about private waste management, which exist in all the informal settlements, starting from Obunga, starting from Nyalenda to Bandani and everywhere. They are the ones that are involved. They are the ones that, even in the cleanliness, when you, from the airport getting into town, you see how clean it is. Yes. So through those groups, you can be able to identify who to do it, even when there are events. Whether you go to Manyata, Kondele, that happens. So very important for service delivery. Then public participation stakeholders, I've mentioned that a lot, I don't want to repeat it. Then the government can also use them appropriately, especially in building their capacity to be mobilizing agents in maximizing revenue collection by whipping their members to pay rents and rates. You know something very interesting about this Uru market? You know what they've been told? We will not collect money from those who have started operating there. We want you to use the money, you account for it, collect the money, account for it, improve the sanitation facilities, ensure the place is clean until the place is fully established for a period of time, so long as you account for that money. Secondly, when you look at the hospital facility managers, that's what they do. Money is collected. I know there is an issue with hospitals. I've just seen it in social media, within Kisumu County. But you give them that independence. I remember I was in one of our sub-counties and somebody said, you know, the women in the market are saying, "Ango mumia udwaro ni mondo wachul pesa. Wachulo pesa to cho chido, wachulo pesa chiro chido." You know, those kind of things. So with organized groups, you can sort out that, so that people appreciate what...
So that you can be able to not just meet the expectation of the law, but also work with a plan. Because anasemanga, if you don't plan, what happens? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Ndio? So it doesn't matter what is happening and what is going on. If there's no plan, it means you are just heading in the wrong direction. And very soon, failure will come to your door because there's no plan that you are following. So it's important that we push for these things and make sure that we have these plans in place. Linda also spoke to us very well and just reiterated the need to make sure that we are actually actively engaged in community and organization and community engagement, community work basically, and what they are doing through the association. And of course, the need to spearhead formation of more resident association or community. You can call it whatever you want. I think what is important is that you are organized, you have a structure, and you know what you want for your neighborhood and for your community. So whether it is a resident association, whether it is a community-based organization, whether it is whatever you want to call it, but the bottom line is that you must be able to get organized as citizens and know what you want and how to get it. And of course, Madam Waziri has finished for us with very, very key pointers on how it is important for us to get organized and how they can work with us. So with those very excellent presentations, ladies and gentlemen, we have a few minutes to just also hear from you. I know Judy had said that she might want to leave, but I'm sure she'll be able to stay just to listen to some of the issues that are coming through, because alisema anataka feedback, sindio? Anataka feedback to help teach mabedong. So we'll give a feedback. So let's see who has a question. I don't know if you have another microphone somewhere. So that we can take some questions and then we are able to proceed. I can see many hands. Start from the front, him, and then him, the front table, and then we'll come there.
Okay.
Mention your name, kama your group or association, let us know.
Okay, yeah. My name is John, and I don't belong to any association resident. I'm from Limani. All you have to do there is call, and you'll be sorted. Okay? Yes, if you have a problem with KPLC or power, you just have to make a call, and it gets sorted. If it's with security, you just have to call the city manager, and it will be sorted. Now, that's on a light note, and that is what happens. Now, in 2016, I was in graduate school the first time. This is for Dr. Nyangwesa. And we were already thinking about San Diego in 2049. 2049, I was in college. Yes. No, we were thinking for the city in 2049. Thinking for it. Now, what is the role of higher learning institutions when it comes to participatory development? What is the role of higher learning institutions when it comes to participatory development? There are many universities around and colleges. They are maybe temporary residents in this city, so they have a say. So what is their role? That's for Dr. Nyangwesa. For the CEC, I've not been in this country for a long time. I just came back. And in my city, we have what we call town halls meeting, which happens regularly every month. And there was an element of participation. What I've noticed back home is that in those town meetings, those town hall meetings, young people don't go. Young people don't come. Not just in Africa, but also in the developed nations. What we see are more older white men, and so it's not a challenge just right here. It's a challenge everywhere. So I will say it's normal, it's global. But the thing is, do we have normal, do we have regular, those town hall meetings? And if they are regular, is or any other organization partaking on it? And this is for Kara. I'm a researcher. My main area is in spatial planning, and I'm looking right now at the exploring the influence of participatory planning and government policy on in the implementation of special economic zones, and very specific to Miwani area. And that's a great resource. And I'm looking at government ability and the non-governmental ability, which we call the PPP part. And I'm asking myself a question. Are the residents prepared enough for the special economic zone around here? And what is also the part of the scholars? What do you take of us, take of think tanks, and how they partake into the participatory planning? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Felix Minda from Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I'm one of the directors in charge of ethics and governance. We talk about public participation. Well, validation of public participation policy. Of late, I've realized, because I've been attending those public participations. I come from Moroni. And there's a problem, a very serious one. I think the county government should take note of it. Moroni is vast, as you say. For somebody or a participant to come from somewhere called Lil Buchin for Tenan to Muhoroni, where public participation is done, to and fro is 500 shillings. And I think that is on the higher side for an ordinary person. So I don't know whether this policy is going to include a small budget of facilitation. That is one. Two, we always have general public participations where all cadre of people are put together. Is it possible, apart from that general category, is it possible for a county government to organize for a specialized public participation where CAM, chamber, and other professional organizations can have an input? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Liz from Slum Dwellers International, Kenya. And as an organization, we pride ourselves in organizing the communities so that they can access various services, especially within the slum belt. And as the urban planner, Frederick said, that the communities should be aware of these plans. And if they're not there, then they push for them to be put in place. But then on the other side, I know Kisumu has very many plans. But these plans, I'm sure that so many of the citizens that are here are not even aware of these plans. Yet I know in the process they will say that there was a public participation. So to our madam, I think there should be a review of how to engage in public participation. As my friend has just said, they're just those general ones. And unfortunately, if you go to these departments, they have minutes and people who are there. Yet the community do not know about these plans. No, we should not leave things to be, this is Kenya, but to actually involve the people, because if they are going to form these platforms, then I make a complaint, then it's not heard, then there is no need for it. We need to encourage our citizens. It's a collective responsibility that all of us, the county, the non-governmental institutions, and even the community, have a collective way of doing things such that when you step into Nyalenda and ask that Mama Mboga there about the plan, he's aware of it. Because there are so many ways to conduct public participation. So I think there is co-creation, there should be co-creation of knowledge with the communities to help them participate better in their development processes. That will encourage them to form these associations and help develop our Kisumu. Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. Let's go there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Jakandango. I'm a youth leader within Northern Sublocation Kisumu. Mine will be brief, and I would like to thank all of you for your presentations. They were well documented. Mine is a question to Waziri, and I will touch on the administration and service delivery. The Constitution stipulates that on the decentralized structures that each county should have a village council, and that is those that are working under the village administrator. So for us to realize the Constitution to the latter, and on the governor's manifesto on Wasetimo, Wadok Timo, he emphasized on it, and he said that Wasetimo, meaning that he had already delivered on the village council level, but that is yet to be done. So at what efforts are you doing so that that can be realized, so that we can access the common man, mwenye ako chini kabisa, yule mwananchi wa chini, so that the information can trickle down to the common man? Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Jafet Ouko. I represent Family Support for Sustainable Development. To Dr. Nyangweso, I think I'll need one-on-one approach with you. And allow me to come to Dada Linda. Dada Linda, you seem to have to have a lot. You have achieved a lot in paper, yeah. But then, in your presentation, I lacked the tangible, specific outputs which justifies your presentation. So that one maybe by the end of this exercise, we may need to maybe have a look at some of what you are talking, so that we can see the evidences. Finally, to Dr. Judith, what plans do you have for the mushrooming street families who are already a menace in Kisumu City? Some of these guys are now old enough to start their families, and, you know, so they are harassing people. They are doing things in the city, but the city is really just quiet about them. What plans do you have for them, which can act as a final solution? Thank you.
Okay. I'm Geoffrey Onditi from Nyalenda. Yes, I have a question on to Madam Judy. You have said in Kisumu we have 35 wards. And then we have in every ward, you said we have 2 villages. Now my concern or my question is, in these 2 villages, there are village administrators. Now these village administrators, one, which criteria or which procedure do you people or is the county using in appointing or electing or whatever to these administrators, the village administrators? How do you elect them, or how do you put them in office? And two, what is their role? Because why I'm asking this is because me, I don't understand if all the questions we are asking, you said we lack information. That is why we can't even know when there is a public participation, whatever. But if I can get it from my village representative, it is easier and it is even much better. Now it is that the only thing I don't know is how the village administrators are being elected and their roles. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Meshak Owera from Nyalenda. I have a concern about the employment in Kisumu. We know that in our estates we are devolved into units, but the employment with these units, we don't see a lot of people working in the county. And the only thing which we realize is selecting this village admin. But there's the other side on revenue collection. I think that if you can devote these things into units so that you employ these revenue collectors from the unit level, I hope this will at least increase the revenue in the county. So those are only my concern.
My name is Lillian Magero from Nyalenda Young Tax CBO. I have a concern and also I have a question. The first thing, and my question goes to Judy kindly, and my concern too. I have attended several public participation meetings, but as we sit here, all of us, we understand that public participation is key for everybody, also to the county government. But I wonder, at times when we attend this public participation, you get that we don't have representative from county government. For example, one member of the public can pose a question. Then you are told that the one who is in charge is not around. Maybe in the finance department, I have observed this. And you'll get that most of the time, the members of public are very angry on this and they're wondering. Then another question is that when maybe you are organizing this public participation, I don't know the criteria that you normally follow, I don't understand. But at times you get in a hall like this, you only have few people. And you are calling that as a public participation. Let's do it in a positive way, whereby that we are here, all of us, as ambassadors. After these meetings, maybe some of us, we are presenting our CBOs. We'll go back to the community and share what we have learned today. So bring so many members on board so that at the end of the day, when there's maybe public participation, they go and spread this news outside. Thank you so much.
More power to the people of Kisumu, more power. Forward, that's the information, forward. Forward. Nitaongelea kitu moja. I'll talk of community organizing. Na nikisema community organizing, na mean community organizing because tumesema vitu mob, tumeongelea hapa information, ndio? na inafikiaje wananchi? The only way information inatoka hapa itafikia wananchi if only we continue organizing ourselves. Tunafaa tunakaa na community kila time and we empower them. Tunafaa tuambie community wanafaa wajue before tuwafikie, wanafaa wajue that all sovereign powers of the nation belongs to the people. Yeah. Wanajuaje hiyo power ni yao? How do they participate? Tumesema public participation, but how do they get this information? The only way tunaweza fanya hivyo na the only way tunaweza achieve is if we continue organizing ourselves vigorously na community. Wacha tu organize community na tuambie power yote ni yao and we are because they are. Bila that community then we are representing nothing. We are here because we are talking on behalf of our community. Issues on poverty, nikinaleo na suffer, si our community members. Mambo na shule, kama watoto wezi enda shule, huwa safari community members. So please, mimi tunasema na nasikia sana. Wacha best people yetu, amari yetu kama sio swali. Let it be the community. So mimi naambia tena na narudia. Naomba sisi tunasemanga, tunakoga mali pengine tunasemanga muungano. Tunasema ni yetu. Hiyo nguvu yetu tutakuja tu hapo kama sisi wote tunaweza shikana mkono na tuongee. One voice, tunasema story. Lugha yetu ni moja, Issues on hata CIDP. Kuna watu wa community hawajui. So kama unatoka hapa kwa community yako na hiji mambo na CIDP nimefanyika, then same on you. Because hizo ndo tunafaa tufanye. We are not standing here to represent ourselves. Kuna wale mama muuza mboga pale mashinani. Kuna yule kijana mwenye anatumia drugs, anataka tu motivation, mtu anaweza mwambia, mtu anaweza mueleza ajue kwa nini anapata hivi. So the best thing ni tunaweza fanya na bado naomba. Najua tuna organize community zetu. But mimi naomba tena let us take another step ahead in terms of community organizing. Na tukifanya hivyo, assured to liberate our county Kisumu and our community as a whole. Viva the people of Kisumu, viva! More power to community organizing, more power. Asante. Kwa majina sio ya majina. Naitwa Willy Otiende. Asante.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephen Omondi Akech from United City Mitumba Traders Organization, an organization based in Kibuye Market. I just have one proposal to the county government. I think all of us, the world is a global village and we are all connected to internet at some point, but it is not to everyone. There was something which was being done initially to sensitize the community on any meetings or plans the county might have. There used to be public addresses plus the speakers, and the MCs would go around and announce that on such a day, on such a place, we are having a meeting or public participation or sensitization. I think that thing is lost, and that's why if you tell somebody, like I go to tell my group that we are in a meeting, they will ask me, where did you get that? At least if we go back to the olden days where you used to go around each and every estate and every street or every access road and tell this to every community and they get information. So if you go back and tell somebody you are from a meeting, they will say, where did you get it? And some people will back you up and say, it was being announced around here through the public address. I think that culture is gone and should be brought back. Thank you.
Mjambo wote. My name is Audi Ogada. Allow me to appreciate everybody here. Let me say that civilian oversight is a measure that allows citizens to engage and supervise governments, be it county and any other public institution. Just because of that, I want to ask our able madam that do our county government respect their own laws? I think I have a problem with that. If we look at the county government, the issue of public participation is clearly in Section 85 of the County Government Act. Are we always looking at that before we make any decision? the structures of the public participation is actually stipulated in section 91. Do we do that? But then most importantly, Madam, Urban Areas and City Act, which is very progressive, 2011. Look at clause 11, governance and management of cities. Clause 11, you have it there. Do we believe in it? Do county or maybe city managers, before they make any decisions, do they interrogate their own act? Madam, I believe that these are some of the areas that, even if you call them challenges, they are areas that we need to look into before we make any decision. We have Maendeleo market. Do we have a toilet? How can we have a market that is gazetted without a toilet? Clearly a contravened Public Health Act, clearly contravened Environment Act, and maybe several others. These are some of things that I need to be. Then the Maendeleo, the Uhuru Business Park, our governor had a vision, had a clear dream of ensuring that we take care of our traders. But did we carry feasibility studies? Did we carry baseline surveys before we decided to make it a market? We are in court, and you know that we are in court, and the queries that are being raised in court, whether we had feasibility studies, whether we had surveys, we have baseline surveys before that. But I want to end up by saying, mandate, function and mandate of the city board. Madam, function and mandate of city board. We have a city board. Are we really believing in them? Their powers, again, very clearly stipulated. And even if you go to urban areas in section 36, the object of having a city, which our presenters have really touched, do we believe in them? So my prayer here is that I would advise you to advise your fellow ministers to always interrogate, and especially the Attorney General, the Attorney, County Attorney, and any other legal officer. You need to consult them before any decision is made. Most of the decisions we are making are contravening our own laws and regulations, Madam. Thank you so much.
Bwana asifiwe. I thank God for this opportunity, and I want to thank members who have availed themselves for this wonderful session. You will agree with me that all we've learned today has been immense, and it was not easy to synchronize all this information in a one presentation. So next time we'll try and be more efficient with time so that we can get to participate more efficiently. I have a concern, and this goes to our able Waziri, on elevation of our towns, especially you mentioned Ahero, Katito and the rest, to the status of townships. You walk to Ahero and you're told this is a town, you wonder. Poor sanitation, poor drainage system, and your men are all over in their yellow dust coats collecting money from traders. Yet even the latrines are not there. In my wildest thought, when Ahero acquired the status of township, I thought it will have its own manager, I thought it will have its own budget, and I thought a lot of things would have changed. But you walk there today, there is no tale to tell today. You walk to Katito, it is the same. So things need to be done, and done in a hurry to save the lives of the Wananchi. Number two is the accessibility of your office, because you've mentioned that you've cascaded the service delivery to the ward villages. But these people are just sleeping. We did a memorandum where I come from, touching on a road that had been poorly done and is dilapidated. It is impassable even in this season of sunshine. You walk there and you don't know where to pass. We did a memorandum and presented to the office of the village admin. He has been sitting on that document. It is now over a year. How do we access your office so that if we cannot get help from this village admin or ward administrators, we can walk to your office and get service or being addressed by your office. Number 3, as I finish.
The last one, yeah.
The last one, yes, is going to Dr. Nyangweso. I've loved your representation, and more so on areas where the public meets the county in terms of service delivery. Many a times you'll remember that we've gone to court when the developers are at loggerheads with the county government. Your plan is approved, you pump in billions. After the structures is done, the same county people come and bring it down using the bulldozers. Yet they are the same people who approve the planning and the building. So there need to be a systematic way of doing these things, because you cannot do one thing with the left hand, then turn around with the right hand to demolish. It is not good, and we are praying that all these concerns are going to be addressed. Thank you.
Asante sana. Was there another hand?
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Violet from Water Action Group and Nyalenda B Neighborhood Planning Association. I have a question that goes to country representative and to the COA. In your presentation, you said that one of your key roles is strengthening urban hygiene by putting up more public toilets. So my question is, we have many toilets within the CBD which are not functioning, and they were built some years back. Up to now, they're not functioning. So how are you going to strengthen urban hygiene where there is toilets which are not functioning up to date? And another question, that there's another toilet at the bus park which is functioning but is very pathetic, and people pay 10 shillings for you to get a service. And so my question is, do we get the value of our money? And is there any terms and conditions to these operators, these people who operate these toilets in the CBD and the bus park? Because you cannot pay something which you are not getting the value of your money. Another question to
the last one, please.
Yeah, the last one. We have people who are doing business at the CBD who normally dump their waste inside the drainage system. Is there any law that the county government can come up with and reinforce it, that if you are found dumping a waste inside the drainage system, then you'll pay some fee so that we can maintain the hygiene and the sanitation of our county and our city?
Asante sana. Thank you very much. I think let's end at that so that we can give our speakers a chance to respond. I know most questions were to Madam Judy. You want to start? Okay, she wants to start so that. Okay, proceed.
Which will come out clearly. We'll be having forums. And that's why I want you to register your organizations with those administrators, because we want you to participate. We have representatives from all interested parties in attendance. So Henry will really want you to participate in this. We have coined it. I don't want to mention it because it's something that we are working on, and we really want it to get publicity. It will be a dialogue forum and feedback mechanism, which will take place in all the sub-counties, and it will be regularized. In fact, we thought we would hold one in a year, and the governor said we'll be holding 2 of them, so that every minister, every department, every administrator is held accountable. I heard some of you mention that there is public participation and some people are not there. So it would be good to mention it when the governor is seated. So it will start from the sub-counties and it will culminate to a county-wide forum where the governor and the deputy governor will be in attendance. And people will answer questions there. So we'll regularize that. So you mentioned about town hall meetings, regularizing them. I know there is a slur on that. I'll pick it up, especially with the city manager. I know what happens in other sub-counties is not referred to as town hall meetings. So it's something that needs to be addressed. I know the special economic zones, you rest with him, he'll respond. Then the issue of Kenya Chamber of Commerce, validation of public participation policy not having taken place, has been raised and continues being raised. What I've said partly answers it, but what the lady says is having a collective way of doing things. Creating time to be there, I think also is very important. I know, and I remember Willis raised it up. How do we ensure that we are engaged? You know, we are available to participate in these events. His concern is that sometimes people tend to sit back. As we have, from the many presentations, I think what has really been emphasized, and Henry reiterated it, is when you are organized groups and you've been able to demonstrate that you're organized, you'll be listened to. You'll be listened to. You'll have no choice. We'll have no choice. You'll be listened to. So I think it answers the reason why we are here. Then the issue of admin service delivery. I don't know which village admin was this, which you'll need to give me. You'll need to give me that particular administrative unit where your letter was lying. You know, the goodness with government institutions, there are several levels. You start from the village admin, and please keep copy of that letter. If they don't escalate it to the ward, then the ward is supposed to escalate it to the sub-county. Then the sub-county is to take it to the director. They have their director for administration. Then it goes to the chief officer. So I'm actually the last point. Because if all these people cannot deal with it, there is a very serious problem. So always keep copies of that. Then Japheth said something about mushrooming street families. Allow me to pick this with the city manager. I know there is a lot going on. And that was why I know people say Kisumu town is so isolated in the night. So isolated in the night. The matatus don't get in. The tuk-tuks don't get in. So allow me to, the city manager will pick this up. And we find a way of dealing with this because it falls under his purview. Then Geoffrey talked about the recruitment. You are asking about the role of administrators. Very clear in the Act, County Government Act. They are responsible for coordination, management, and supervision of those administrative functions. So it's even broken down the things they need to facilitate. That public participation, they are the ones who should ensure that people are mobilized. Those administrators, they need to do that.
So if they are not doing it, there is a problem. They are the ones who should coordinate with relevant ministries, relevant departments, to ensure that there is participation. Working closely with, the village, the ward, and the sub-county, so that people participate. That's why they are there. So depending on their
Maybe I could just make it loud. I just had 2 solutions that I wanted to propose to Waziri here that could help address some of the challenges that are coming. One of the things I would want to propose to you, Waziri, is to digitize public participation. At times, not everybody has time to attend them, and at times we're also in the day and age of technology. So if we could have it shared through different avenues, especially digital, it could help. Another thing, to let people know the information about the dates for public participation. You can have village admins having WhatsApp groups that have contacts of the people within that area. So just within a WhatsApp group, they can just let people know that there's going to be public participation on this day in this venue, then people will just attend. They just need to have a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group, but a WhatsApp group nowadays takes 1,000 numbers. So when they just post, people are able to have the information and people are able to attend. Thank you.
You have to release. She has to leave. Before the, yeah. Thank you. Asante sana. I think she got the feedback and she'll be able to act on them. So we still have, I think there's some questions to Daktari here. So maybe we can just take them and then Linda can also take some of the questions here.
Thank you. I will start with a question from Joseph. What is the role of higher learning institution in participatory development? Allow me to start a bit broad by what is the role of higher learning institutions in development, with focus on urban development before coming further down. Let me start by saying that higher learning institutions are development agents, stroke instigators. Wherever a higher learning institution is planted, think of Njoro and JKUAT. It was just a bush, and within no time it is a town, almost a city. So higher learning institution is a pull factor of a big market. Once students, scholars, researchers concentrate in a given location, they attract development. They give market for housing, hospitals, hotels, accommodation, and many other things. And they attract resources from far and wide, because some are universities. They can attract resources from far as US, UK, everywhere globally. Money is pumped to that location. That is number one. Number two, higher learning educations are partners in development. I will give you an example of clip here in Kisumu, partnership between Jaramogi, Maseno, and Kisumu City. Here, I think they have been focusing on development of markets and tourism. And I think when you look at Dunga, there is on some platform, there are tourism sites which have been branded and whatnot. And I think their partnership with also Sweden also did something. I know there is also some work going on urban food system, also on solid waste management. So there is some partnership going on. Let me cascade it down to real role of universities and higher learning education. It's called triple helix. Teaching and research, outreach, and consultancy. And here what they do is that they generate and disseminate knowledge. And this knowledge nowadays is packaged into prototype, which are sometimes piloted. And there could be a buy-in from urban administrators and communities to implement some of these things. They can also be called in forum like this to give their expert view or expert knowledge. And I think this is what I'm doing currently here. So I think I might have addressed your question, but not to forget that they are producer of skilled labor, including you, so that you can participate in such fora from point of knowledge. A lady from Islambeth. Tell me your name, please. Lysia. Lysia, I will want to approach your concern like this. That you don't know whether a plan exists for the slum belt. You don't know where to get one, probably. And you are in a helpless situation. I want to start by saying, usually, the impulse of development is usually too strong. They do not always wait for plan to be developed. And always plans come a bit late and reactive in nature. So once development happens, like in our slums, what we seek for is slum upgrading and formalization of the informal settlement, so that those developments which are there can be integrated into the formal urban fabric. This must happen because the development must be protected, the residents must be protected, and those areas must be formalized. Actually, it was a problem of the authorities. Why did they allow development before planning? And if development has happened, they have to recognize, formalize their development in subsequent plans. Kisumu City physical and land use development plan is now formalizing the slum belt. It is one of the regions that they are very keen on. Be keen on the plan, you can download it. And I think on that basis, slums are safe. I didn't see any slum being recommended for clearance or redevelopment, but more upgrading according to urban development policy. That is, I think, as far as my questions were concerned. There is one person who said, Oko, I'm available. We can talk one-to-one. Yes. And I want just to correct myself. My presentation was more of residential neighborhoods. I want to correct myself by saying that urban areas are composed of various spaces with various uses. And whoever live or are interested or doing something in these spaces must have this association to champion their interest. What I mean is that in urban areas we have land use zones. We have zones for residents, so we can have residence neighborhood associations. We have zones for business. Why cities or towns approve plans, then you develop, then they come to demolish? I think that is so uncivilized. And it beats the logic of approval in the first place. Of course, the norm should be plan guides development, and where there is no plan existing, cities can allow certain things like part development plan or allow some development depending on the general character of that area. So once they approve, we don't expect them to come and demolish. And don't you have the letter of approval by that time? Go to court, because they will have to pay you. They approved it, they are coming to demolish, then they have to pay you. Compulsory Acquisition Act also seeks that they can approve your plan, you build, but in this, for the sake of national interest. Sometimes a road widening is happening in your area. They have to negotiate with you, there must be valuation, and they have to pay you properly, market rate, and before they can demolish your property. If that does not happen, go to court and seek for justice. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't think my questions were many. Apart from the one for justifiable outputs, I'd want to take your contact and I'll share with you some of the findings from the surveys we have done. Session. What I'd want to say, allow me to stand. Times when you stand, you feel kiongea inafika kwa mguu. I want to share with you one story as I finish of something that happened during COVID and why this conversation conversation we're having today is very important. A friend of mine is called Bina Maseno, and what happened during COVID is bars closed down, and what happened is most of them walikuja kwa residential wakafungwa wines and spirits. See, that's what happened. Silifanyika hivyo. Can you picture a slum area where now people had to open bars and wines and spirits within slum areas? So unajua kwa ghetto vile watu wanaishingi kwa hivi ina sakati kind of setup. And then one of those houses hapo ndani mtu ameweka bar ama ameweka wines and spirits. In a slum area, people share toilets, people share sanitary amenities. Can you picture your daughter ama yourself unaamka usiku unataka kwenda choo na nyumba ya jirani ni bar, wine and spirit? Is it a comfortable environment? Is it a place you want to live in? But that is what happened. So as I'm saying, this is a true story that happened through a friend of mine called Bina Maseno. So what happened is people opened bars. And what happened is they rallied the women in that community. And they wrote petition against the bars that opened in their homesteads and in their Sakati areas. And when they wrote this petition and taken to the area police post, and guess what happened? Found out some of these bars were actually owned by who? The police. Sindio? Sinafanyika? Ni hao tu ndo tena wamezifungua hapa na wao ndo wanawaumiza. So they went now to my friend Bin and said, now what do we do? And through her organization, but being relentless, they went to the county commissioners. And 41 bars were closed. 41 bars were closed during COVID. And it started with an estate and a community organization and mobilization. As I'm saying this story, why am I saying it? The power belongs to the people. The power belongs to communities. The power, I'm walking from this podium to join the community. The power belongs to us. We are the ones who live in these estates. We are the ones who live in these environments. We are the ones who feel the pinch. It is our children who are going to these schools. We are the ones who are using these roads. Therefore, I want to imply all of us, when we are living here and we're going back to our different communities, what is it that you can do as an individual to make your community better? What is it that you can do now as a community if you join hands with your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor to make your community better? I believe if we all do and we take action, then Kara and Hensel will not have a problem in holding our hands to make us reach levels that probably we cannot reach as individuals. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda, for that, and Dr. for the responses. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a gentleman who said behind there that we really need a lot of time for this kind of conversation. And I agree with him, because there's so much to talk about, and there's so many people we need to engage in the government, civil society, and many other sectors. So maybe we'll continue reviewing and see if it is possible to have sessions that can extend beyond the time that we have allocated. But for now, I think we've exhausted our time here. We've all been here since morning. I can see it's already past noon. We were hoping to end by 11:30. But I believe that seated here, tumejielimisha, si ndio? We all have something to take home. How many people where you live? You can start talking to your neighbor, talking to your friends in that place, and come up with a resident association or a community organization that can then help you address your issues. Because if you're not organized, trust me, mtapiga kelele, you'll walk to these offices, but chances are that mostly you'll be ignored. But if you go there saying that we are coming here as this community or as this association, then it's only a mad person who can ignore you, because they know that when you stand in that office, you're not there alone. You have so many people behind you who you represent and who expect services. So my challenge to all of us is that let's go out there, let's form this association. As Kara, we are happy to walk with you the journey of forming an association, registering one, and making it functional, because we can be able to support that process. So if you don't have one, please talk to us. We can be able to guide you through the process of having one in your neighborhood, and then how you can work with others to make it stronger. Because the whole idea about Kara is that now once you form your association where you live and somebody else form another one, then we join up in this one platform called Kara, and we make our voice even stronger, so that when we talk about issues even at the national platform, then it is the issue that will be listened to, because we have this representation from people across board. So I invite you, I challenge you, I welcome you to please make sure that you have these formations and work with us, so that we can be able to be more effective in engaging with government and other service providers. It's good that we had Waziria from the county government, and she has had the issues that have been raised. She has had the concern. She says she'll take them up. We are also going to follow them up with her and of course the governor's office. As you heard earlier, this invitation was actually direct to the governor, so he's aware that we are here, and he sent the Waziria to come and represent him. So we are going to give that feedback, even us, to the governor, and just inform him what was discussed and the expectations that people have, so that some of these issues can be addressed at that particular level. So my brother there, you talked about special economic zone and the communities and all that. I would want us to have another a session on that, and you seem to be working in that area, because even that term itself, I don't think people understand what it is. I know these are things that people talk about at high level, and you assume that people know when they don't even know what it is in the first place. And if they don't know, then how do they even participate? How do they even contribute? So I think those are things we need to have a session just to talk about that, and how we can break it down to ordinary people to understand what it means and how they can be able to get involved to support that particular process. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to keep you here any longer. Najua kuna shughuli zingine watu wako nazo, so I don't want to keep you here longer than is necessary. So I want us to come to a close of this session, and I want to thank all of you once again for coming to this session, for staying up to this time, and for engaging, asking questions, making comments, and sharing your thoughts on the issues of, on the topic of discussion. So we, as always, will be able to indicate when we are having another session, and of course, we invite you to always join us so that we can be able to learn from each other and interact on issues that are of importance to us. So with those remarks, I'm going to request somebody to close with a word of prayer. And then I think there's some refreshment, some tea and snacks somewhere. Vincent, Sarah, it's out here. Okay, yeah, so let's continue networking and comparing notes, even as we have a bite. So can I request somebody to close a word of prayer so that we can close the meeting officially? Maombi tafadhali. Okay.
May we rise up for a word of prayer. Okay, we are praying. Mighty and everlasting Father, King of glory, it's another special time. Come before you. We're done with our sessions. Father, we thank you for the energy, the liveliness, for our views and our thoughts. Father, we thank you for everything that has happened since we started until now. As you want to disperse, may you be with us. All that we've learned, may they stick into our minds, oh God, and may we use it also to help others who are not here. Father, may you be with us for now and forever till we meet again. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much. If you wish to communicate with us in regard to what I've said, the Resident Association, if you have the program, our contacts are down here, our number and our email. So just communicate and then you'll be able to respond. Asante.